So we are officially in the holiday season.
Yes, sir.
And the first question I have for you is, do you think there's ever a time where it's too soon to listen to Christmas music?
Oh, gosh. First of all, I think you're that guy who just can listen to Christmas music.
I've been bumping Mariah Carey since August.
Oh, my gosh. So my kids were asking the same question the other day. I don't really have an equation for this. I feel like Thanksgiving for me is like the thing. Like,
Okay.
all right, let's get over Thanksgiving. Then we can bring Christmas.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Got you.
So I just actually just put on like 105 instead of this because, you know.
It's like 105.
Like 105, man. Just let it flow.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
How soon do you put up your Christmas tree in your house?
Oh, that's a question for my wife. It just went up. So again, I think her thing is let's do Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Then let's get into Christmas mode. And yeah, the Christmas tree is up.
Okay, me and my wife, we set it up the day before Halloween.
What?
Yeah. What is your favorite Christmas tradition?
Oh man, favorite Christmas tradition. So I grew up in Cape Verde, right? Where I loved this as a kid. That in Cape Verde, we would go to church, which back then my parents were the Christmas and Easter.
Was it a midnight mass?
Close.
Okay.
It was too long. Cape Verde, man, it was like they would start. Now I'm not exaggerating when I say this. They'll start like around 8, but go to midnight, or close to midnight.
Got you.
But what I loved about that as a kid was that in Cape Verde, the tradition is you open gifts at midnight. So I loved that as a kid. Like, I mean, you like struggling through that service, but you can't wait because you know I'm about to get my gifts. So I love that tradition. And so moving here, we try to keep it, but then as we got married, my sisters and I, and moved and have kids, we've kind of like condensed it to we will have like a Christmas dinner together, then we'll let the kids open the gifts like right away.
There you go.
Because we're too old for this, wait till midnight,
Can't hang.
losing my mind. Gotta drive back home. That's what happens when you get older.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh man, that's a good one. I think I have to say, I have two. So it's like a tie between Home Alone
Okay.
and Elf. Those are like my go-to. In my household, man, they can repeat movies. I have a hard time repeating. So they already watched Home Alone a few times already. And Home Alone 2. I don't like Home Alone 2 as much.
Okay. I've never watched any of those movies.
What?
And I think Elf is overrated.
What?
And I know some of you think that too. So.
This is nuts. Okay. We need a whole other conversation. Home Alone is like a classic.
I've seen the memes.
Oh my gosh, you gotta watch Home Alone. Elf, Will Ferrell.
Overrated.
Wow.
Overrated.
Man.
No, the beef and cheese part is kind of funny.
Church, we're gonna have another conversation. It's a whole other spiritual care.
What is the best gift you've ever received?
Oh man, the gift that comes to mind was moving here. I think it was like a first or second Christmas here, and
So you were in high school.
I was in high school, and my dad, again, not your best like person that gives gifts, but that year he must be feeling good, and he's like, I'm gonna take you to the store, and you're gonna pick your own Christmas gift. And I remember getting Sega Genesis, and that was like amazing. Stayed up all night, because again, got it at midnight, played all night long.
That's what's up.
Because it came with Sonic, and that was it. I still remember that gift till this day, one of the best gifts ever. Do you have one?
My favorite gift that I've ever gotten was probably a chess set.
Okay.
A marble chess set that my wife got us.
Do you play chess?
I love chess.
Yeah.
Best game, other than football.
Oh man.
Do you?
I don't. I remember trying to learn it, but wasn't very good at it. I would love to try it again though.
I'll teach you.
Please.
I'll teach
That'd
you.
be fun.
So, what kind of student were you in high school?
Oh man. So I wasn't saved. Let's just
Give some context.
just say that. I wasn't saved. I wasn't walking with Jesus. Believe it or not, I was a smart kid, but I wasn't applying myself, If I applied myself, I was a really good student. Things came easy. Now, let me preface that to say, I grew up in Cape Verde. The education system is there. It's powerful. It's really great. Like, I was just doing a project with my son yesterday, Caleb, about your father's upbringing and all of that. And I grew up from very early age learning 2 languages. I spoke Portuguese and French like very early. Here's why. Because the education was powerful, but then I would go literally from school to tutoring.
Okay.
I had 2 aunts who were like educators, so they like made sure that I was educated against my own will. You know what I mean? So I was really blessed to have that background. But so I came here, honestly, 15. I really lost that desire to learn, and it's part of it. It might sound crazy. I felt it to be boring.
Really?
I went to high school and felt like, wow, this is boring, you know? And then when I got saved at 20, I fell in love again with learning. And so that became the catalyst for, till this day, wanting to be a learner. I just love to read, you know? But all that to say, wasn't the best student, but love to learn.
The youth don't use this as an excuse. Pastor wasn't a good student.
I wasn't saved.
There it is. What was the biggest culture shock for you coming to America?
Oh, man. I have to say 2 things. I think the lack of community. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood and village that everybody knew everybody. So to come here and live, we lived in a 3-floor apartment with my grandmother when we moved here. She lived on the 2nd floor, but I never had any relations with the people on the 1st floor or the 3rd floor, which was like foreign to me. Because it's like, wait, people don't talk? Like they don't know each other like that? Where I could walk down the street in Cape Verde and people know me, they know my parents. You can get away with anything, you know? So that really was like, wow, like, why? You know what I mean? It was weird. And then the second thing was with that lack of like honor and respect to your authority. You know what I mean? Like I grew up like you honor everyone, you know, not just mom and dad. So that really threw me off, seeing kids talk back to their parents and just having this like lackadaisical approach to their elders, like threw me off. Yeah. You know, it still is like a weird thing. You know, some things like stays with you.
Right.
So
yeah. Right. When you think back to high school, is there like any crazy embarrassing moment that sticks out?
Oh gosh, high school. That's a long time ago. Oh man. All right, I remember this one. So I played basketball and soccer in high school. In my sophomore year, I was a sophomore. Automatically, like we came in May, summer, went to school as a sophomore, learning the language and.
So you didn't speak good English?
No, just learning it. You know, just know the basics. So that was a funny moment there. You know, trying to learn things and saying things wrong. But embarrassing moment for me was there was a teacher that I really liked, and I invited her to a game, and she came to the game. I got no playing time. Man, I felt so embarrassed. You know, really, really embarrassed because I was talking it up, like you know, and no PT that day. So I remember that being an embarrassing moment. Wow. And then just learning the language and saying stupid things, you know.
No, that's funny. So back to holidays. Do you have a favorite holiday food?
Favorite holiday food. So my mom is an amazing cook. Like, my mom, and then I was blessed. My wife's an amazing cook too, but my mom, we go there for our Christmas.
She throws down.
She throws down, man. And she makes, every year, it's a tradition, she makes octopus stew.
Octopus?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's amazing. We Cape Verde, man. Octopus stew, one of my absolutely favorite Christmas tradition. Okay. I bet no one was expecting to hear octopus in the holidays. You know, do you have a favorite meal?
I don't. So growing up for holidays, we just order Chinese food.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to convince Lizzie for us to do that on Christmas Day. Because I was like, listen, you do all this work all year long. Let's just, we did it one year. I loved it. And she's the one that's like, yeah, but like, it's.
Got to have home cooked meal.
I'm with you, man.
Gotcha. So you have 5 kids, you and Pastor Lindsay. Yes. So that's 7 in your house. 7. What do meals look like for you during the week?
Oh, it's crazy. First of all, she blows my mind how effective she is doing all of that. You know what I mean? Because she loves to cook. And she's an amazing cook as well. So I always encourage her, like, try to make a meal during the week where we can, like, hopefully last a couple of days. But she's always, like, making things, you know. But there's always that wild card there's always usually a wild card night where it's like, listen, we got too much going on. It's pizza.
There it is.
You know what I mean? And the kids, they're not very picky, I think. 5 of them, I think, honestly, just one of them have a really hard time eating. I'm not going to put that one on the spot, but the rest are just like, they're used to it. The fact that mom will cook, but then there might be a day that it's just whatever.
Okay. Do you cook?
Absolutely not. I've cooked twice in 18 years of marriage.
Was it decent?
Here's the funny thing. I cooked twice, and I still remember both of them because I had my mom on the phone the whole time. She gave me the whole play-by-play. I had it like this. Like, so wait, now what? So what do I do? So yeah, was it good? I can't say.
We survived. We ate.
That's it.
That's funny. That's funny. Do you prefer to eat out or eat at home?
That's a good one. I like both, honestly. I feel like Lindsay is an amazing cook, so I love her food. But then I love to eat out. Like, I love Thai food. So give me Thai food any day.
There you go.
I'm happy, Or just some wings, really. You know what I mean? Like, shout out to Paizones over here. We love Paizones, right? Just their wings right here. It's off the chain. So.
That's the spot. So when you're not listening to worship music,
yeah.
What's your go-to music?
Funny thing is, I don't listen to music that much.
Really?
That sound crazy? Yeah, I honestly don't.
Podcast, audiobooks?
Yeah, I don't listen to music that much. Even, it's funny, even working out, I have like these instrumentals that I listen to. My kids, they just think it's the funniest thing in the world. So all right, here's another thing that people need to know about me. But I like Asian culture. It's not just the food.
Okay.
So I have, it's literally called P.F. Chang's soundtrack.
That's what you listen to?
I'm not making this up. Look, this is my workout thing, P.F. Chang's. And it sounds like this. I'm gonna give you.
He's putting you on right now. P.F. Chang's instrumental. That's what you're listening to.
This is where I live. On the bike, listen to weights. This is me. My kids think it's the funniest thing in the world.
Wow.
So I barely listen to music.
Okay.
Honestly, outside of, I'm a big hymns guy. So Shane is like my go-to.
Gotcha.
But outside of that, barely listen to music.
Okay.
I try to listen to hip hop once in a while because my son loves KB and those guys, but outside of that, that's about it.
Okay. And so we know you love sports.
Yeah.
What are your favorite sports?
Oh, soccer first and foremost. Well, the real football.
The real football.
All right. My favorite thing is play it. Like we play on Mondays here at the church, indoor, a few guys, when we're not hurt. And I love watching soccer. Saturday morning is my favorite time.
Okay.
I love waking up very early and catch a soccer game from English Premier League. To me, it's the best soccer league in the world.
There's too many leagues. It's too complicated.
That's my favorite league. English Premier League. If there's a really good game at 7:30 in the morning, if I can catch that with a nice breakfast,
there you go.
That's a great Saturday right there. Yeah.
So what is your ideal day? What does a perfect day look like?
Saturday. Give me Saturday all day.
Walk us through it. What were your morning?
I love Saturday. I love waking up really early, right? And get me a nice breakfast meal, right? Eggs, bacon, the whole 9 yards. And then I hope it's a really good game. You know what I mean? That's a perfect Saturday morning, right? Then after that, honestly, Saturdays, we're trying to practice the whole Sabbath thing, like just really rest, just really be.
Okay.
So once a month as a family, we do Sabbath, where we're just like, hey, no electronics, so I don't even get to watch a game on those Saturdays. But it's fun because we're just hanging out, we're playing board games, we're trying to figure out if it's not too cold, can we go for a walk, can we get out of the house? We make up games. We love apples to apples.
That's a good game.
It's a fun game, And then we just make up, kids will just make up stuff. They're so creative. So I love those kind of Saturdays to just like chill, just be. So a typical Saturday would be that way. And then usually like about 4 or 5 is when I start to lock in on Sunday, Start to get my game face on and study again, go out, pray again, and just kind of get into that Sunday mode.
Waiting for Sunday.
Yeah.
No, that's what's up. That's what's up. So, apples to apples, you don't play chess.
No, I wish I did.
What is the game that the kid's always beating you at?
Oh, game that they beat me at? No, listen, I'm very competitive. All right, I don't lose. I don't lose, but I just lost in apples to apples. We just had a Sabbath.
Okay.
And I came in last out of 7. Embarrassing.
That's bad.
I
Do you play video games?
I hate to admit that. I do. I only play 2 games. Only 2 games. FIFA and 2K.
Okay.
That's it. I can't play anything else. They try to get me to play other games. I just can't. You know, I'm a big FIFA guy in 2K, and ask them about my skills in 2K. You know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, what is like a skill that you're currently learning?
Actually, it's something I've been talking to Lindsay about. I want to learn a skill,
Okay.
but it's something that I've been thinking about. Like, man, I want to like branch out and do something different. That, especially like to get your mind off things. You know, one of the last things I've done was I've been building Legos. Been fun. It's like very peaceful.
Yep.
Like on my day off, just aim. Like I love that mindless work. You know. But then I just started getting into coaching, so I actually like that because it feels like a hobby. So I'm like looking out plays, you know what I mean? Learning how to make these guys suffer, you know, run more. So I can't say I really have a hobby, but I would say like coaching is like a fun thing on the side that I got going on right now.
So what is like one skill or hobby that you wish that you were good at?
Oh my gosh, I say this to Tim all the time. I wish I was handy.
Really?
I really wish I was handy.
So you can't build things?
No, I'm jealous of these guys that could build stuff. If you want to see me lose my salvation, make me build something. You know, like I'd be sweating. Give me an IKEA project and I'm like losing my faith because I don't know what it is, man. My mind just doesn't compute those things.
Do you read the directions? Or you
I
just look
do.
at the
Even the directions mess me up. I feel like maybe that's how. I think what this means. Is that how people feel when they read the Bible? Like I don't get it. I don't get directions.
That's a good analogy.
You know what I mean? Like it jams me up. Lindsay will tell you, like, if we have to build something, I'm praying hard. Like, God, I'm about to lose my mind. I wish I had that skill. I don't. Shout out to Tim and all you guys. Are you handy?
No. I can get it done.
You can get it done?
I don't prefer to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Yeah, see, I can't get it done.
I look at the picture and then build it. I'll have extra pieces and then I gotta break the thing.
Yeah, I'm that
break
guy.
the thing down.
It's like crooked, you know, it's leaning.
Why is it leaning like that?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like that.
That's funny. So you said you speak 2 languages. Well, no, 3. How many languages?
So growing up in Cape Verde, right, Portuguese is the official language in school, but you speak Creole, which is like a broken dialect. It's like a slave language.
Okay.
Because we were colonized by the Portuguese, but we were a slave port, basically, from every nation. So when you listen to Creole, you hear like a little bit of French, a little bit of Portuguese, or even like German, you know, there's a little bit of everything in there. So we only were allowed to speak at home Creole. And then in school, you had to speak Portuguese.
Okay.
And then very early, like from as early as like 3rd, 4th grade, we learned French. So I spoke Spanish fluently, but you lose it when you don't practice it.
Okay.
You know. Then starting in 8th grade, you learn English. So when I came, I had basics, you know. And one of the ways I learned English here was just watching everything with captions on.
There you go.
I still do, which is crazy. 30 years later.
You got to appreciate the dialogue.
Absolutely. You know. So language has always been one of my favorite things. Actually, at one point, I thought I would teach like French or something.
Really?
Trying to figure out life, trying to figure out what I could do.
Okay.
But now I honestly could understand it more than speak, because if you don't practice it, you lose it.
Right.
You know.
Right. When you pray, do you pray in Creole or English?
Now mostly in English, but sometimes in Creole.
Okay.
You know.
And the same thing with thinking?
With thinking, yes. Funny thing about thinking is, I don't know why, it's like a weird brain thing, but counting. I count in Creole.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's just a weird thing. You know? I don't know where that comes from.
That's funny.
You know. But yeah, I'll pray in Creole sometimes. I'll pray in Portuguese sometimes, but barely. You know. Again, you lose it. The only people that I speak Creole mostly with now is my parents.
Okay.
But outside of that, my kids, they don't really speak it. Lindsay doesn't speak. She was born here. She's like 3rd generation Cape Verdean, which I call her fake Verdean until I said that. So yeah, I don't get to practice as much. You know.
Got you. How did you and her meet?
We met in college. I transferred to Enazarine College when I felt called to ministry. So when I got there, I was only there for like 2.5 years because I already had all my electives. And I remember first time I ever saw her was at the gym of the school. And then we became really good friends because what's crazy is that she was dating a friend of mine. And I used to advise them, and now people are gonna take this wrong, you know. But I was dead serious about like trying to see them, you know, make it. But we became really good friends because of that. Like we were like really, really good friends. She will tell you the story like that. We would actually talk to each other about like who we could potentially meet down the line. You know, how crazy is that? And I really genuinely like we cared about each other. And, you know, and then they broke up, and then it was like a year, something later that we started having feelings. I started having feelings for her before she had feelings for me, you know, which was another weird thing because it's like, man, it's my friend,
right.
You know, like what's going on here? So I did something really weird. I actually got away from her for a while because I was like, what is that? But we were friends, so it was an awkward thing.
Did that throw her off?
It did because it was like, what's going on? And it was like we went to small school, so it's hard to avoid people when you're like in a school of under 2,000 people. But I did my best to be like, I got to get out of her way because I don't want to get tangled up with a friend, and that's not healthy. That's not good. But the rest is history.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What was your first date?
Oh man, first. So you're on that college budget, man. Wendy's,
Baby.
You know, chicken and chili used to be our favorite thing. You know, I was like, go dollar menu, whatever you want. You know, it's on me.
Yeah, I got you.
I got you. Chicken and chili was our favorite thing. Nuggets and chili was like our thing.
There you go.
For sure.
And how did you propose?
So, we were in school in Quincy, Mass, and once things started to get serious, you know, I would ask her, you know, what would be our ideal, you know, proposal thing, but she didn't really have anything. And as I was doing my, you know, figuring out what I want to do, and I was trying to figure out like what is that for us made sense. And this was lame, be honest with you. Looking back now that I hear all these amazing stories about people propose, I was like, man, I was lame. So here's what I did. I took her out to eat, one of our favorite restaurants. She likes Portuguese food, so we went to a Portuguese place in East Providence. But I was like trying to throw her off, so as the conversation was going completely in the wrong direction because I was trying to like make her feel like this is not happening. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm like, I don't think we're ready. I don't think I'm ready. You know, all these things. But the reality is I was ready to propose.
Yep.
And now I'm looking at her at the dinner table and she's looking dejected, like not interested, not even want to eat anymore. I'm like, uh-oh, like this thing is going completely the other way. So from there I was like, hey, I think it was like the anniversary of our dating because we dated for a year and then we're engaged for a year. So I was like, hey, we should go pray over our relationship. And everything about her was like, heck no, we ain't praying. We ain't doing that. So I drove her to the church where I was serving at the time in Pawtucket. You know, and I was like, let's just go pray. And then I could tell, like, our body language is awful. Like, she didn't want anything to do with it. Because I'm thinking, like, we're not ready to eat, you know. But for me, again, this was lame, but for me, it was like, man, church was what always connected us, just as friends. We always talked about, as friends, we always talked about, like, where's God leading us? And we both felt like one day we would, you know, do something in the church, you know. So to me, it was like, all right, then we should be proposed in the church.
That's not lame.
You know, but now I hear these crazy stories, helicopters, people like
overrated.
You know,
overrated.
I mean? So we went to the church. No one was there. I brought her all the way to the altar. I was like, we're gonna pray at the altar. I was like, man, let's just have a moment, right, with the Holy Spirit. I'm grabbing her hand and she's not interested. And I'm praying like the worst prayer ever, like meet the parents type of prayer, because I'm like nervous. So I had her close her eyes as I'm praying. I got on my knees, and when I said amen, she opened her eyes on my knees, and that's when I proposed.
Did her attitude change?
Absolutely.
There you go.
She went from that to tears of joy and calling mom and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the rest is history. We're going to be celebrating our 18th anniversary in a couple of months.
18 years.
18 years. So we've been together for 20, married for, so we dated a year, we're engaged for a year, and
it's beautiful.
Here we are.
It's beautiful.
You know?
So what is something that you still do that gets on her nerves?
What I still do that gets on her nerve. Not picking up after myself, still happening. Doing better, but
Okay.
still
Do you have that pile of clothes?
Which I gotta say, I've come a long way from that.
There you go.
I'm really proud of myself, but that still happens. She hates messes. Like, it drives her nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And then with 5 kids, so the house is always messy. So I'm like, this is gonna be a long life until these kids grow up. So that drives her nuts. She doesn't like mess, you know. So any little time that something is off, it's gonna throw her off, and that just drives her completely.
Pastor, you're a human being. So when you get together with other pastors, like, what do you guys talk about?
It's really funny. We talk about sports, especially the guys that I am connected with. We have that in common, right? We love sports. It's like, it's nice to not go there, because eventually we're going to talk about some serious things. But sports has always been a connecting point, you know, for at least for the guys that I'm connected to. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a great escape. You know what I mean? And of course, you can't help it, right? Like, the way you look at the world, sports is another way to look at leadership, right? It's another way to look at life. It's another way to look at what we call Christianity. So even now, like, I'm coaching my son's team. It's like, I can't help it. You know what I mean? The analogies are all there.
Yep.
So eventually you're going to, I remember talking to, you know, Pastor Stephen Mook is a good friend, and we're talking about, you know, the documentary on Last Dance. You know, like, man, how spiritual that is. You know? It's like, we can't help but make connections.
The principles are there.
And then the Brady one, we're like, man, this is like leadership, like on another level. So yeah, with sports is always been a great connecting point for us. And then eventually it always leads to, you know, deeper conversations.
Right.
You know?
What is your greatest joy as a pastor?
Oh, wow. You know, yesterday we actually had a really powerful crew. And that question came up. And the greatest joy is to see people thrive. The greatest joy is to see people, like, live their lives in Christ, you know? Like, I have the privilege of what I call the front row seat to that reality, like from baptisms, which never gets old. You know, 10 years later, seeing life being transformed in front of you, to being part of some of the toughest moments in people's lives, you know, from people losing loved ones to, you know, marriages who are struggling, or, you know, addiction. You know, so you get to be part of, like, some of the most awesome moments in people's lives, and then some of the most toughest moments in people's lives. So the emotions are crazy, but it's like the greatest privilege ever to be part of, like, real human, you know, development, struggle, strength, weaknesses, dreams, hopes, aspirations, all sometimes in one day. You see all of that stuff. I was just talking to Lindsay about that. Like, for example, I came into the office the other day, and I'm like, wow, in a span of 5 hours, I saw so much.
Hey everyone, we are going to continue this conversation live in person with an Ask Pastor at our New Year's Eve celebration here at our New Bedford campus on December 31st at 8 p.m. Both of our campuses are going to come together to celebrate and go into the new year praising Jesus for all that he's done and all that he's going to continue to do. And we're also going to be having live baptisms. So if you or anybody you know is ready to go public with their faith and take their next steps, baptism is it. So you can sign up on our app or our website, newlifesouthcoast.com/baptisms, and we pray to see you, your friends, and your family in God's house to celebrate New Year's Eve the right way.